kind introduction, and thank you everybody for being here today. Before I start, I want to introduce my wife, Amy Hanna, and I'll be making reference to her several times during my remarks. So thank you again so much. My name is Nasser Hanna, and I'm an oncologist at the IU School of Medicine. I'm also the co-founder of a nonprofit organization that serves school children throughout our state. Amy and I live in Fishers, and we're the proud parents of 3 beautiful kids. Like many Americans, I've long been frustrated by politics as usual in Washington. Our nation is blessed in so many ways. This is the land of freedom and opportunity and liberty. But too many of our office holders lose sight of that. They lose sight of who they work for. They lose sight of the meaning of public service. Now, I could stand around and complain about this, but I decided to do something about it, and that's why I've decided to announce my candidacy for the United States House of Representatives in Indiana's 5th Congressional District. Now, I'm running for Congress to bring responsible leadership and new ideas for the voters of Indiana. New ideas that will bring prosperity back to our state. New ideas that will put Hoosiers back to work. New ideas that help struggling families afford health care and education. So what would I do if I'm lucky enough to be entrusted by the voters of Indiana? Well, first, I think we're entering a new economic period, the energy age. And with responsible leadership, I believe Indiana can lead the way in green technology. All right. This will result in thousands of new, well-paying jobs right here in Indiana, and I will lead in that way. Secondly, as our economy recovers, and it will, we have to restore fiscal accountability at the federal level. With responsible leadership, we can do that, and we can do that in the right way. But I'll warn you, that is a very difficult thing to do. Part of responsible leadership means reforming the 4 largest federal programs in our budget: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and defense spending. This is political terrain that few politicians dare to tread. But I will lead in that way. I believe that we have to decide what our national priorities are. And I think they need to be economic security so that America can and will lead the global marketplace. Health security so that nobody has to worry that if they get sick, if they'll get good health care or if they'll be financially ruined. Retirement security so that we can retire with dignity. And of course, national security. Now, beyond that, we can't afford to do everything we want at the federal level. We are going to have to pick and choose, and we are going to have to reduce spending in other areas. By doing that, we will be able to make our federal government more effective and will be more in alignment with the ideals of our founding fathers. Now, lastly, we have to reform the way Washington works. This is a very difficult thing. The political atmosphere in our nation's capital is absolutely toxic. But with responsible leadership, I will work with Republicans and with Democrats and with independents to reform the way Washington works for the betterment of all Hoosiers. I will walk the walk. I will act the way that our citizens expect our leaders to act. I will always remember that I work for my constituents, not the other way around. And I promise to always be faithful to the trust of the voters. Now, I know that it will be very hard to earn the votes and to represent the voters. But I've never been shy about challenges in my life. You see, I learned the meaning of hard work and dedication and service to others from my immigrant parents and other members of my family. My father tended to the sick all of his life. My mother provided social services to those in need. My oldest sister healed the hearts of drug-addicted moms for 20 years. My wife, Amy, was a remarkable nurse, and now she runs the nonprofit education organization that she and I co-founded 5 years ago. I grew up in the Midwest. I went to those public schools. I always wanted to serve others. And I've done that as a cancer doctor, taking care of people and their families in some of the most difficult moments of their life. And I've done that, providing medical services to our veterans every week for the last 10 years. I understand our veterans. I understand the problems that they face. I understand their concerns. I'll be their advocate in Washington. I want to take this responsible leadership to Congress on behalf of my fellow Hoosiers. Now, years ago, I came across a quote that really best captures my feelings about public service. Never rest, never tire, never fail to struggle for the betterment of all. Then when your time comes, you can say, my life made a difference. That to me is the essence of living. That to me is the lifeblood of responsible leadership. I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to thank you for supporting my candidacy. But most of all, I'd like to thank you for hearing you and for understanding you and for serving you in the United States Congress. Thanks again for being here.